Mark's leadership, I think, first of all, he is an amazing leader with his teams. I saw that from day one when I joined the organization. The respect that he has from his team members, from other people within the organization.
What he's built today is amazing. I mean, we now have 3 pharmacies, and the staff that he built, I tell him, and he and I were just talking last week, he raised 2 families. He raised his family, and he raised the family that he has here in the pharmacy.
I think he helped me fall in love with pharmacy. It was fun. We knew everyone's name as they walked in, right? Which was totally different from any of my other pharmacy experiences I had.
His dedication to this place speaks volumes. I think of him in his 340B. He's on the front lines, making sure patients get what they need.
What I will remember is him doing everything possible to help the patient. People would say, no, we can't do this, and he's like, no, hold on. And he would step in and find a way.
He makes you feel as though we've got this. It might be rough, but we've got this, and here's how we've got this. And that's just invaluable so that we can focus on our patients.
He will bend over backwards for his team, so we always know that there was always someone in our corner advocating for us. So we would do anything for him, and he would do anything for us. And he was like a father. He's like a father figure for all of us.
I had to think of a lot of things I want to say to Mark. How many thank yous are allowed in someone's, time that you have known them. I have quite a lot. He's a Disney-loving, Harry Potter-loving, did I say Disney-loving? Disney-loving, Harry Potter-loving, Yankees-loving guy. Like if he loves something, he loves it with his whole heart. Mark is just awesome. Like it's what you see is what you get with Mark. That is who he is.
He just would walk in the room and it was just like, almost like a Disney character just popped in, and as we all know, that's his go-to place. And I think it didn't matter the situation or how stressful times were, he always knew how to bring everybody up and have a good time.
From the rest of my life, I will never forget who Mark Malahosky is. He's become like part of my family.
When I came out of college, I don't know why I ended up in Rochester. I took a job at F.F. Thompson Hospital in Canandaigua where they had an opening, and how I saw that in the newspaper in Buffalo and why I applied, I can't tell you. I guess it was my destiny to come here. I got that job. I had my first boss, Bob Locke, a mentor of mine, and that's where I met my wife, so maybe that's why I was destined to come here. I met Helen, was a pharmacist at the local pharmacy in Canandaigua. Met her, got married, and my roots have stayed here in Rochester. From Thompson, I went to work at Southside Apothecary, which was owned by he became a very dear friend and almost brother to me, Dave Kloss, of the Kloss Family Room fame. He really taught me a lot about pharmacy, about the business side of pharmacy, but also the compassionate side of pharmacy. By chance, I was had a phone conversation with somebody from Excelis. It was one of their case managers for their HIV population, their sadly growing HIV population. And she said to me, look, I know these 2 doctors from Strong that are going to be opening up an HIV clinic, a community clinic, the first one in Rochester. They're going to need a pharmacy partner. I immediately thought of you and Southside. Would you be interested in that? And I said, yeah, I absolutely would be interested in that. So Dave met with Dr. Valenti and Dr. Scheibel, and the rest was history.
So they had a dispensing place in the office on South Avenue, and also prepared the IV fluids and medications that we gave in the office and also at home in our patients, because this was the darkest time of the AIDS epidemic, where people were sick and homebound and died, and they were just very, very tough days. But the work that they did during that era, those dark days, I don't think is really known to a lot of people, because they were doing a lot of what we couldn't do. And in the end, when we working together like that, saved a lot of lives. But Mark, is the lead pharmacist on that activity, deserves a lot of credit. He's a hero in this very early phase of what would become Trillium Pharmacy. Later on, the organization grew. We were in pretty tough financial shape for a long time, but one of the turning points in that was when we moved to Pleasant Street in the corner of North Clinton. We got the idea to open our own pharmacy, to an in-house pharmacy. And who better to do that than the guy with all the experience in HIV pharmacy. I mean, Mark probably knows more about HIV pharmacy than anybody on the planet. With all those years of experience right from the beginning. Called it Pleasant Street Apothecary. And it was on the first floor of the building. The clinic was on the second floor of that building at the corner of Clinton and Pleasant. And it just hopped from the beginning.
For them to be able to come to one place and get everything that they need, and get everything that they need from people who know them and treat them like, you know, members of a family and in a judgment-free space is enormous.
A patient would walk in there and we'd all know their names, right? They would know everyone's names behind the counter. That's kind of where I think Trillium and the pharmacy and the success we have today still lies.
We just were there to help people, and I mean, Mark has really taught me so much about, I mean, I always thought I was a nice person, but you know, just being able to work with him and for him, he's just broadened my whole scope of kindness and generosity.
He always was fighting to get the best for the patients. Everything that they needed to get, he will try to get them the same day.
I think his legacy is going to be what he kind of taught all of us. The patient comes first. No matter what, we'll figure it out, but just make sure they get the medication, they get that smiling face when they come in, and that they're taken care of.
Is it best for the patient? That answer is easy. Just do it, right? You don't have to ask someone else what to do. You know, oh, you know, this med's not covered. Well, you know, it's best for the patient right here, right now. We'll figure out the rest later, right? And that's kind of hard to teach even across the board, right? To allow somebody to be comfortable to make that decision in the front line.
I attended it was a seminar on refugee care, refugee health, and it was in Rochester a number of years ago. And there was a physician there who was speaking early in the morning, and he said, I wish I could remember who the physician was. I don't know who it was, I can't give him credit, but he said something that really stuck with me and kind of helped formulate you know, the rest of my career in pharmacy. He said, healthcare for the poor should not be poor healthcare. And you could argue that it's not just the poor, but it's any population that has a history of health disparities, whether it's communities of color, LGBTQ. Anybody who has had challenges with access to good health care deserve excellent health care.
For Mark, I feel it's not only a mission, it's part of him. It's part of him to make people feel better. even if you're sad, like not that you're sick, you could be sad and he's like, what's going on? And he tries his best to make you feel better. He just has his way of kind of like sparking that sense of, I care, I really genuinely do care about you.
All of the HIV patients remember him. Yeah, and they ask about him when they come in. Yeah.
We have patients who would come in and say, you saved my life. I mean, we've had people in tears at the counter who have told us, I wasn't going to make it. This wasn't going to happen. And, Mark would always find a way. He would do his best. And that is, I think, what I will always remember. It's like, no was not an option with Mark. He was like, we will find a way.
I have patients that have become friends. I mean, I have pharmacy patients that have become dear friends, some of them very close friends. We used to fancy our pharmacy being the Cheers of pharmacy, right? I guess I was Coach, the crazy old guy, wiping up the counter. But we would take the extra time to talk to a patient, even if it wasn't about their prescriptions or their health care. But it might be, I'd have patients come in, hey, how's your son doing? How's it, what college did your daughter choose? I mean, we would have personal conversations. And that, I think that helped, extends that family atmosphere that we talked about, the staff being family. Suddenly a lot of our customers and our patients become part of that family, right? Because we're talking about some of our personal lives as we're delivering care to them. I think it really builds trust, right? I mean, our patients have a lot of trust in my staff, whether it's the pharmacists or whether it's even the pharmacy support staff. I mean, there is a real profound sense of familiarity, which leads to trust. And that's another thing I'm very, very proud of, is the longevity not only of my staff but of our patients. Working here on Thursdays at Science Parkway, a lot of our old-time HIV patients do use this pharmacy over here, and to get to see them and to say goodbye because they know I'm retiring. It's been a great few months working over here, being able to see all these folks that have been with us since we first opened in 2005, that are still here, still healthy, still kicking and still joking around with Mark. It's been a long goodbye, and it's been a fun goodbye.
The legacy that he leaves is the 340B fight. I will never forget that. I know that he's going to continue fighting for that, because that is a program, I should say, that allowed us to expand Trillium to the point where we currently are. The
340B program built what we see today. We went from one pharmacy to now we have 3 pharmacies, we have 2 clinics, we have all the community centers. None of that would have been possible without the revenue that we were able to generate from the 340B program.
Anything that we do within that program simply goes right back to the patients, whether it's free home delivery or whether it's clinical pharmacists embedded in the clinic, or whether it's something else that we can't bill for, right? It's been literally the safety net of Trillium Health and our legacy organizations to really expand care for patients.
Regardless of how, scary things might have gotten in the past with regard to 340B funding, or, things being sort of up in the air at different points during our journey, Mark has always been such a calm and steady, pragmatic, but heartfelt force, and really was right up there in the front lines. And I don't know how often you can say that about, a pharmacist for the organization, but he became, and still is to this day, really one of our pillars here at Trillium.
When we had, whether it was a state or federal level on a 340B, a carve in, carve out attack or change in legislation, Mark was probably one of the first persons to say, let's go talk to our legislators. right? You know, we've done it in Albany, we've done it in Rochester, we've done it virtually over COVID. And he's always brought a great message during those visits.
The program works, and that's what I always, whenever I'm advocating for the program, it's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. Why change it? It's working. Trillium was one of the 6 organizations that originally started up what became Ryan White Clinics for 340B access, or RWC 340B. And that really was our gateway to becoming recognized really as national leaders in the 340B space. It's not me, it's Trillium that's recognized as leaders in that space. And it was all from just a dinner of a half a dozen or a dozen people saying we need to do something to ensure that Ryan Whites have continued access to this incredibly important program that is leading to better health outcomes for HIV patients.
We are so lucky to have a nationally recognized 340B expert in our own backyard. That nobody knows it better than Mark. It's complicated. During the 340B fight, everybody looked to him for guidance, for leadership, and he was leading the charge.
I think Mark definitely has created a pharmacy which is renowned across the country. I think that's one thing I'm really always proud about when I speak with other organizations and how their pharmacies operate.
We've become a pivotal source of information for other, health centers, other Ryan White Part C clinics, as a point of reference when they are also struggling with anything, related to pharmacy or health center across the country.
Any person who's been in the business for a long time is then you go out there and you show other people how it's done. And he's done that. And I think had a huge influence on the way people with HIV access drugs in terms of creating a pharmacy business that works not only for the patient, first and foremost, but also for the organization.
I never thought we would need more than one pharmacy, and now having 3, I think it was smart to make sure that any clinical site has a pharmacy, because you want that one-stop shop. You want people walking out with their medication in hand, knowing that they're going to start taking that medication right away. I'm really proud of the pharmacy here at 170, and that's because we were given a rectangle to work with for the first time to design the pharmacy of, our vision of the pharmacy. It's welcoming, it's open, and the workflow is terrific. But I think the practice of pharmacy is changing now, and we're looking forward to an area where the delivery of pharmacy no longer has to be necessarily a brick and mortar pharmacy shop. We want to make use of the technology advances that we have before us, where we're doing a lot of I don't want to say telepharmacy, but telepharmacy. The pharmacist is talking to the patients through the phone, and then we make sure we find a way it's most convenient for them to get the medications to them. Pharmacists go into pharmacy because they want to provide care to patients, right? And that's their pathway to providing health care to patients is through pharmacy. Well, then you need a lot more contact with the patients and less contact with the medications per se, right, with the drug products. Let technology figure that part out. You provide the direct one-on-one care to the patient by ensuring that they have the strategies that they need to be most successful with their pharmaceutical care. That's the key to the profession. The future of the profession is going to be for the pharmacists to impart their knowledge on patients to make sure that they're getting the best health outcome that they possibly can.
He's leaving behind him a legacy of not only the pharmacy, but a legacy of developing the staff who are going to succeed him in the pharmacy.
He's made sure that when he was ready to retire, Chris was ready to step in, and that's not often that you see that in organizations.
How proud I am of Chris taking on this role. I'm very proud of him. I mean this genuinely. He was my work son, and he was our third pharmacist, and now he's going to be succeeding me, and quite frankly, he's going to take the pharmacy to even greater heights. He's smart, he's compassionate, and like me, he likes to have a good time, and I think that's another part of the secret sauce.
Mark's always been a mentor. He was a mentor to me. He's been a mentor to all the pharmacy students that have come through Trillium. Many of our pharmacy students that were here became pharmacists, like Chris, Sarah, Tierra, Victoria, so many people that he helped navigate the profession.
Mark is the reason why I'm a pharmacist today. I will always tell this story. I applied for pharmacy school and I didn't believe I was going to get into pharmacy school, but there was this position, there was this pharmacy tech position, and it was like the managers of the pharmacy tech position. And I really wanted this position because it was like 8 to 4, right? I just wanted these hours. And he pulled me into the office and he was like, Tierra, you will not get this job. And I was just like devastated, like crying, upset. And he's like, Tierra, you're gonna get into pharmacy school. And I just remember crying like, what if I don't get into pharmacy school, Mark? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And he's like, Tierra, you're gonna get into pharmacy school. And I did get into pharmacy school. And during that time, it was just like, okay, he actually believes like if I can do it, like I really can do it. And even to this day, like he always had a plan for me. So he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I am a pharmacist because of Mark. I owe him my career.
I was an intern. And then Mark kept me on as a pharmacy student. And then from there, I took an extra year to get my pharmacist license. So instead of sending me on my merry way, Mark volunteered to work with me as a pharmacist so I could stay. So every night he would close with me.
He's good at finding that talent, that raw talent, and working with it. He pushed us so that we can be the best pharmacy people that we can be.
Just learning from someone who's been a pharmacist for that long is just, it plays a role in my day-to-day. Like I said, I can ask him any kind of question, like any question, he can answer it.
Probably one of the biggest experiences or qualities or traits I can take from Mark as a mentor is kind of know when you can step in a little bit harder into a conversation. Does that make sense? Trust your gut when you know you're right? And when you're about to do the right thing, right? Don't hold back, right? If it's the right thing, do the right thing.
He's taught everything to Chris, and Chris is really, he's prepared him to take over, and I think he left us in good hands, and just making sure he knows that we're not going to let him down.
To watch all of these people grow up, I call them my kids, and they are my kids. They're all, again, I'm like the father, maybe the grandfather. Geez, at this point, I don't know. I've just been so proud to see all of them grow and have the same passion for the work that we do that I have. And I hope I at least have played a small part in them developing that passion for providing care to our patients. I think maybe I have had some effect on that, and I'm very proud of that.
I think that's probably one thing I admire most about Mark is his love for his family. When you talk to him about his family, he becomes a different person. He dotes on them, he loves his grandchildren, he loves his kids, he loves his wife. He speaks so incredibly highly of them, and I do think that's an extension of the people that he looks over in the pharmacy, their longevity, and them staying there and how he supports them is a reflection of what he does, for sure.
He treats you as if you're part of his family. Like, he calls us all his kids. So I think he's like that father figure. Like, he takes everyone under his wing.
It's the thing I'm the most proud of is my family, and I spell that P-H-A-M-I-L-Y, right? Family, with pharmacy, PH, family. I am been blessed in my career to have a wonderful group of people that I've worked with along the way.
I've never worked in a place where, I mean, there's really no turnover in our pharmacy because we're all like a family, and we all treat each other with respect, and we have each other's backs, and it's fun, and we love each other, and I think that we depend on each other.
You know, as colleagues, we know a lot about each other, right? We've been through it all with each other. That includes Mark and me, or me and another employee. It's really that history. It is family, right? So it's, you know, we spend time outside of work together. We plan things, you know, to wear the same clothes before Bills games. You know, flannel Fridays, or dress like Mark Day, or dress like Chris Day, whatever it is. We've all taken kind of that role in which he's led the way in creating that environment or atmosphere.
I have watched his family grow. He has watched my son grow from the time he was 1 to the time he's 21.
I've been to graduations, I've been to weddings, I've been to funerals. They really are like family. I mean, it's a great group of people.
Mark is what I call my pharmacy dad. He is there whenever you need him to be. He was there to write me my recommendation letter for pharmacy school. He was there when I graduated. He came to my graduation, which was 2.5 hours away in Pennsylvania. He was there when I had my first child, and he came to my baby shower. He was there when I came back to Rochester and I needed a job, and I was not even prepared to become a pharmacist here in New York State 5 years ago, but he was always there for me.
He would take me home, he would pick me up if I didn't have a ride. He went to funerals, like he's been to my daughter, like when my daughter was born, he was there for her baby shower. He's held my daughter from then and up until now that she's 7 years old.
There will be morning talks. If you know Mark, he has certain subjects he loves, right? Buffalo Bills, Yankees, Boy Scouts, Harry Potter, Disney. I think I got them all. So there's always that piece of, you know, the first, you know, 15 minutes of your day in the conversation with Mark, or Mark just coming in to talk about his family, right? That will probably be the most missed part, right? The in-person, I can't believe this happened in my life type of thing, right? I think that will definitely be the most missed. And he doesn't do that with just me, right? He'll do that with any of the current staff today. I think Mark loves person-to-person interaction, right? It's another, you know, quality, characteristic trait that he has, right? He'd rather come in, sit down next to you, you know, kind of stop you working for that 15 minutes, whether you're in the pharmacy or not, just to get whatever he had, you know, off his chest for that day.
That's the thing that it's going to be the hardest to leave, is coming to work every day with people that I genuinely love and respect. I mean, look, I'm texting on weekends with folks that I work with, and it's not about work, right? So that's led to, I think, the tremendous success of the pharmacy.
Mark's got the greatest humor. He can create levity, I think, in any situation, and I'm going to miss that a lot. You know, in ELT meetings, in other meetings that can have a more serious take, Mark can always find a piece of levity.
When I sit at the leadership table, I can look at Mark, I can see that smile on his face sometimes, or I can just watch his face and go, oh gosh, here he's gonna react to this, or he's gonna bring in a little bit of laughter just to bring everything back down, so we can just breathe.
I probably know Mark even a little bit better than some of the other folks. I got to travel with Mark to Washington, San Diego, San Francisco, a bunch of other times, everywhere, and I could say probably about 50% of those times we've had travel issues, and That's probably some of the most fun we've had. We've literally flown around the whole country just to get to San Francisco in one moment. And the true Mark never got irritated. It was fun. Like we made sure that we had fun while we were doing it. It also gives us good stories so we can, relive them, right? Like, remember the time we did this, right? And it helps open up the rest of the staff too. Like, I can't believe those two, for lack of a better word, morons got away with that, right? We've done things, written letters that we've never sent people. Don't tell IT that, or we don't need to look through the treasure trove of his Outlook. But there's a bit of therapy in how we handle those situations. We would write the whole letter, never hit send, right? And then write the more appropriate letter, and then get it out the door. That's kind of like the Mark, right? Being lighthearted about the situation and kind of moving forward. And I think I've taken on a bit of that role too.
I always said, like, herding cats. Like, he is kind of all over the place. If you try to get him into a meeting, if it's 30 minutes, it's not going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be an hour. And he's going to talk about Disney. He's going to talk about the Yankees. He's going to talk about his grandkids. And then maybe a little bit of what we have to do. And then back to Disney. So it's in the most endearing of way. Like, he definitely is like herding cats, but we love him for it. Like, I wouldn't have it any other way.
He talks a lot of smack. He keeps you on your toes, but it's always good-natured.
Definitely shooting the crap about baseball, for sure. We have fun with that, absolutely. Even in the beginning of the season, we talk about it. So I'm gonna miss that. It's just something that you can, decompress for a few minutes and talk about something he enjoys. I enjoy it.
It was always fun. It is always fun with him. Of course, when he needs to be serious, he is serious. But it is always fun to be around him, and kind of, the day goes by fast because, he makes it easy.
When the pharmacy first opened, it was on Pleasant Street. And at the time, it was just myself and Mark and Doug. And it was just the three of us. And I never had so much fun in my entire, it was hard to actually call it a job because the three of us were so intricately meshed, and we laughed and had so much fun. I mean, we did our work and we did really good things, obviously, for the community, and the patients were always very receptive of the hard work and the wonderful things we did. But honestly, it was a blast, total blast.
We're with our coworkers more than we're with our family during waking hours, right? We've got to find a way to have a good time, and we like to have a good time. Work is important, the work gets done, but it's okay if we have a few or several laughs along the way.
I will miss going by the pharmacy and not, seeing him there. But I will miss a lot of his, public fights that he does for our patients. I know that he will continue to do so. A lot of things will be, missed about him around here because he is part of that pharmacy from the time that it started, which was 20 years ago, March of 2005.
I am going to miss his humor, but I'm also going to miss him. He and I have shared some things personally over the years where we've had similar circumstances in our families, and he's always been somebody that I could talk to, and I've been somebody he could talk to about those situations. When you have somebody who has a shared perspective on things, it's really valuable and it's very meaningful, and I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss my friend Mark more than the colleague Mark. I'll miss them both, but it's my friend Mark that, if I'm down and I need somebody to talk to, I'll go over to his office. I just said to him last week, I miss you already because I've wanted to come over and chat with you for a few minutes and you just haven't been here. So that's what I'll miss most.
I'm gonna miss him saying Tierra Darche. I hate my middle name, but I will just let Mark call me by my middle name. I think that's what I'll miss the most, him coming through the door and saying Tierra Darche.
Truthfully, the whirlwind. Like, I just miss him coming in. I already miss him coming into the pharmacy and just his loud, like, extra presence. Like, if Mark is there, you know Mark is there. And that's what I love, and I'm just gonna miss not just being able to go see him.
I don't know if there's a favorite story. I think the most recent story is Sarah Sack getting a little irritated with me because I was on the phone talking to Mark, I don't know, 30 minutes on one of his days off because he was worried that he didn't get enough gifts for his waste management company, the men that pick up the trash for Christmas. And he goes, how do I find out how many people are on the truck, Chris? And I go, I don't know, call Waste Management. Call your service provider. They'll probably know. And like we went through the scenario over and over, and Sarah was sitting in my office and she's like laser beaming my eyes. I can't believe you're doing this right now to help Mark. Like, no, it's important to him. But I think that kind of shows you a little bit of Mark's character and appreciation for those that, you know, do stuff for him. And I can remember by the end of the conversation, okay, good. I found out it's only one guy on the truck. I got enough. It was either a gift card or cookies or snacks. He goes, I feel better about this now, and that like relieved his day.
He's a very humble person and has so much humility and care for humanity in general, but definitely for the people that we serve. And for our staff. He cares about his staff. He cares about who he has developed there. They are his kids, just like his regular kids. They're all part of his family.
I think I have a story to tell about what I think is my greatest success. It was my son was in the parking lot over at Monroe Avenue. He had a friend that lived across the street. And he came over and he was going to come over to say hi, and he ran into one of our patients who looked and did have some kind of street cred, right? Like, I mean, my son thought, his father was this, well, I was a father, I was a dad, square, right? Not cool, not hip. Didn't really know what I did, didn't understand really what Trillium was. He was a kid in high school, or maybe he was in college at this point. But so he came into contact with this individual in the parking lot, patient of ours, and they got talking. And the guy asked him, was he a patient here? And he goes, no, I'm coming over here to see my father. And he goes, well, who's your father? He goes, well, he works in the pharmacy. It's Mark. And this guy went off on how wonderful, the pharmacy was, the whole clinic was, how wonderful his dad was. How he said we saved his life. And my son that night at home said, Dad, I never realized, what I'll get a little choked up on this, but what you did, and the type of patients you cared for. He goes, and that's really cool. I didn't think my dad was really cool, but it's cool what you did and what your pharmacy does. And I didn't realize that. And boy, this guy really likes you, he said. And I go, well, this guy was a great advocate for us as well. But it really made me think, well, if my son thinks what I do is cool, maybe it was cool. And what it really meant to him was that his dad provided care to populations that maybe society has a tendency to overlook. And that meant a lot to him when he started to think about it, and that means a lot to me that it meant that to my son. And then maybe he thought his dad was a little bit cooler than he thought he was the day before.
There's certain people that come into your life, and he's that one person that came into my life, and he helped me professionally, he helped me emotionally as well throughout the years. I'm just gonna miss him, like who he is, like him talking about like saving lives and like everything that we've done. Like during hard times, when patients would pass away, he was like, Herminio, we made their last days, their last years better. Not only by the treatment, but by the customer service and the way we confront our patients with humanity. They're not just like a patient, and that's something I learned. They're not just a number, they're humans. And that is something that Mark always made sure that we were well aware of. We're not just servicing a number, it's not just a patient, these are people. These are human beings with feelings.
As I've seen the impact over the last 7 years since I've been here is we've grown. We're serving so many patients through the pharmacy, over 100,000 prescriptions every year. But yeah, 3 pharmacies, 1 at every location. We adapted to doing mail order to really meet the need of our community, and that's been such an impact. And then of course, all of the advocacy work to protect our pharmacy revenue has been there as well. So without Mark's effort, we wouldn't have had our reinvestment fund that allowed us to continue to serve the patients and expand within the organization.
Well, it's a great legacy. And when you think about 35 years of work and what Mark has accomplished, not only making pharmacy service, really first-class pharmacy service, available to people with HIV and AIDS, and now to a broader population. But also being able to really make what we call the one-stop shopping model come together, made that happen not just for us, but for other people. So that model of the in-house pharmacy in an HIV clinic has been replicated over and over and over again. And he was there right from the beginning. He invented it.
It's been his baby. He's put his heart and soul, sweat, tears, blood, you name it, it's in there. And he really did create an amazing place. And it's not, I mean, yes, what we do for the community is unbelievable, and you could never say enough about that, but his mentorship, his leadership, the way that he ran the pharmacy, and you know, it's an important ship that he's running, but yet he knows how to have fun and to let the employees have fun, all the while keeping the focus on the job at hand. So I've never worked with anybody that has been able to bring all that out. It's amazing what he's done, and I'm so proud, and I'm so thankful that I was part of that with him.
I am profoundly proud of the success of my team. Any accolades that I get, I owe all to them. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Fell into this, had a terrific group of people that were dedicated, that came with me and helped me build this. And the credit goes to them, not to me. Anybody with my kind of knowledge, if they'd been in that place, would have been equally successful, because I had a terrific team working with me, and I really mean that. I've just been blessed to have them. I'm very proud of the people I've worked with, both in the pharmacy and the providers. Being able to say that I worked with Dr. Valenti, who is a legend, that I knew Dr. Scheibel and worked with him, who was also a legend. I've had terrific mentors along the way. Yeah, I mentioned Bob from the hospital pharmacy, Dave from Southside, Jay who brought me in here, Dr. Valenti, Dr. Scheibel, all of my colleagues on the executive leadership team. I've just been so blessed to have such a gifted group of dedicated and passionate individuals that also allowed me to be myself, and they put up with my foolishness sometimes and my nonsense, and they allowed me to extend that good time to anywhere that I worked in, whether it was in the pharmacy or with the executive team. I mean, they accepted me for who I was. Sometimes a clown, not always as serious maybe as I should be, but they embraced that and they let me be that way. And I am profoundly grateful to everybody that I've worked with. Again, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time and was blessed to fall into such a terrific group of people. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Mark, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss talking about baseball with you. You'll have to keep in touch if the Yankees ever make the playoffs on what food we're going to eat. Not pretzels, too salty. Good luck, and in the famous words of Dr. Valenti, good job, kid.
Mark, I hope, well, first, you deserve retirement, right? You've been along a very long time, right? You've watched pharmacy go from typewriters to the internet, right? You deserve it. Congratulations.
Okay, Mark, hi. It's Danita, your Macedonian friend. I wish you a happy retirement. I wish you all the moments, free moments to be spent with the ones you love, your grandchildren, your wife, your children. And I thank you for everything. So I will say something in Macedonian. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So ti благодарам od dlbočiната na moето srce. Thank you.
Mark, congratulations on your retirement. You finally made it to your retirement. Enjoy. I love you. You are like a father to me, and you know that. You're a mentor. You deserve this. This is what you worked for all these years. Enjoy it. I'll always be there if you need me. Let me know.
Mark, I just want to wish you a really happy retirement. We're going to miss you. I know you're not leaving us. You'll always be alongside Trillium. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds for you. I'm excited about you spending more time with your family. I feel sorry for Helen, but I know she's going to give you a list of things to keep you busy and keep you out of her hair. But you've had an amazing career. 20 years at Trillium has just been amazing, and we thank you for everything you've done. Cheers, Mark.
Mark, I don't even know how to begin to thank you for everything that you've done over the past 100 years we've known one another, and in this organization. We are so thankful for everything that you've done. The legacy that you are leaving with us will continue to sustain this organization long after you've retired. And I wish you nothing but happiness and health and all the good things. We will miss seeing you, and I hope to see you around at our events. I know you'll be there. So I look forward to giving you a hug at the white party.
Thank you, Mark. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to know you. You will be missed, and I hope you have a wonderful retirement. Thank you.
Mark, I hope you enjoy retirement and spend all the time with your grandkids and then spend all the time in Disney and say hello to your bartender friend in Epcot, because I'm sure he misses you.
Mark, don't leave me, but I know you're going to leave me. I hope retirement is everything that you want it to be. I hope you go to Disney every other month. I hope you have the time of your life and enjoy your grandkids, your wife, your family, your kids. I just hope you have a great, great retirement.
Please don't go. I can't live without you. No, seriously, I have over the years been thoroughly impressed with what you've done, the pharmacy that you've built. I know how important it was and it still is to you. And not only did you get it up and going, but I mean, it has been such a profitable, lucrative baby, and I couldn't be prouder for you. And I want to thank you for all the laughs. Never forget our laughs, the conversations, the thought-provoking conversations that we've shared. And I just hope that you have time to spend with your family and your grandchildren. And I am truly, truly, truly grateful to have had this experience. Thank you.
Mark, you know how much I'm going to miss you. We've talked about that, and the fact that we can't chat. We won't have time to chat anymore, but we will see each other. There's some berries waiting for us someplace, and we'll get together and have those chats outside of here. I wish you the best in your retirement. I know you're going to love spending time with your grandkids and your family, so enjoy every minute of that. I'll miss you.